So, something else that I was wanting to share is that I know this is an insane project to take on as a single mom. Building my own house with my dad. Um, it's not something I would have dreamed of doing 5-10 years ago. But I also feel like building with my ex-husband was part of God preparing me for taking this on by myself, because he was gone quite a bit working, and I ended up having to take on a lot of projects that I would have never dreamed doing by myself, but there was a lot of things that had to be done and there wasn't anyone else to do them at the time. So I learned to run a backhoe and dug out most of our basement and put in a septic system and did plumbing and wiring and flooring and painting, and I mean just all kinds of stuff that I definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone. But I also feel like God used that experience to prepare me to build my own house, because I don't think I ever would have even dreamed to take this on if I hadn't already walked through that. And I got really good at bossing people around and hiring people and just different things, tackling a lot of projects. So that was part of what made me think about taking this on. So, but I've had some doubts, because this year especially is probably not the best year to build. Building costs have gone up dramatically. A couple of years ago, it was like $2.18 for a 2x4 stud, and now it's over $6. Finding subcontractors and laborers is really difficult to do right now, just because there's so many people moving here and building. And so I kind of questioned whether or not this was the wise thing to do. And then this last week, I had a situation come up with plumbing. I had been told by the state that I could do my own plumbing in my own house without a plumbing permit or without needing to hire a plumber. And then I had the city tell me that in order to hook up to their city water and sewer, I had to get a plumbing permit, and on that plumbing permit, it required a plumber, like their number, like all of that. So, so I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm not supposed to build, because this is a huge roadblock. If I can't do the plumbing in my house, and like plumbers are almost impossible to find right now because they're just booked up. I was like, well, God, if this is what you want me to do, you're going to have to find me a plumber. And so I just prayed about it, called a bunch of different plumbers. I only got a hold of one, and they told me they weren't taking any new clients at all this year because they were so booked up. And I left messages all over, and then finally had a guy call me back, and he told me that he could come by on Friday and look at my house plans and give me an idea of if he could work for me or not. And so then he didn't show up. He didn't call. And so I was like just praying about it, like, okay, God, maybe this isn't what you want me to do. And so then he did end up getting a hold of me, and he came by, and he's this kindly older gentleman. He's a believer. He's built his own house before, so he was very sympathetic to what I'm trying to do. And he looked at my house plans, and then he told me, I don't even think you're gonna need me. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he was like, I think you can get your own plumbing permit from the state. As a homeowner, you can get your plumbing permit, and then you can have it inspected and all that, and you won't even need me. You won't even need to hire me. And so I was like, well, if I do need you, are you completely booked up? Like, would you even be available? And he was like, well, if you end up needing me, he's like, I have my own company. It's basically just me, and I can pick and choose what jobs I want. And he's like, and I would be happy to work for you if you end up needing me. And so it was just one of those things where I asked God to show me what he wanted me to do, and I feel like he just opened that door for me, and he's just leading me through things and providing everything that I need. Sometimes it's like just the very next step and I don't know what I'm going to do, and he always does, and he's always done that in my life. And I heard a story this week about the 12 spies who went into the promised land to check it out and bring back a report. And 10 of them went in and they came back and they didn't see God's provision. They just saw the giants and all the obstacles that they had to overcome, and they told everyone that they should take the safe route and they shouldn't follow through. And Joshua and Caleb were the only ones who saw past the obstacles and the giants and all the things they had to overcome. They saw God's provision and they saw the promised land and what God was providing for them. And that really stuck out to me this week, because I'm facing a lot of giants and a lot of things I'm going to have to overcome. But do I take the safe route, or do I do what I feel like God is leading me to do? And so that was something I was thinking, do we take the safe route? And do we miss out on a lot of things because we're afraid, because things look overwhelming and impossible? Or do we step out in courage and faith and trust that God's going to provide and he's going to pave the way for us? And I want to be like Joshua and Caleb, and I want to see God's provision, and I want to trust him. So anyway.